enterprises begin to take responsibility for their own connectivity and realize that the carriers are not always going to step up and provide an indoor connectivity system. So with that, I'd like to welcome Scott Willis, CEO of Zenwave.
Check one.
All right, I apologize. Y'all can hear me now? Okay. All right. So indoor connectivity is crucial to a lot of the things that we've been talking about, and I think that a lot of companies are realizing that the same connectivity that's going to enable basic cellular communications today is going to enable Internet of Things connectivity tomorrow. So that's what we're talking about here with Scott Willis, CEO of Zenwave. And Zenwave has an indoor DAS solution that supports all four mobile operators. So that's something unique in the marketplace. So Scott, I'd like to start off with just a little bit of a history of your company and how you sort of identified this need in the marketplace, and then hear about some of the learnings that you gathered from companies that have been talking to you about their indoor connectivity needs.
Great. So, what we bring into the market, at least conceptually, as a platform, is in terms of in-building connectivity, has been around for a while, right? If you look backwards, it's been very focused around large venues, convention centers, airports, typical, dense environments where lots of people come, has been the enabler. But clearly, when you look at the opportunity with IoT, and you really think about how do you unleash that opportunity, and how do you realize ultimately what IoT is going to offer, not only businesses but ultimately efficiencies and how our economies are going to grow. The connectivity layer is an important layer. It's a critical layer, right? I mean, it's in a way we tend to look at it simply, right? I tend to break things down very simply, right? You've got a data layer. That's the device layer. That's everything that we're trying to connect. So those are all the different devices. Those are all the different applications that you're talking about. The next layer is the connectivity layer. That's where we play. That's what we're working on. That's what we're attempting to work at the enterprise level to enable, right? And then the third layer is really the data analysis, right? You collect that data. What do you do with that data? You got to analyze it. You got to look at it, and you got to optimize it. And then really the fourth layer is the call to action. So that's the layer where you really monetize what you're trying to accomplish through the bottom three layers. And so, when you take a look at IoT from Zenwave's perspective, we're very focused on enabling that connectivity layer and create an environment where we can optimally provide a solution to unleash ultimately what we believe IoT can do.
All right, fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about the business model. I think that a lot of people realize that the carriers are not paying for connectivity for companies anymore, but do companies realize this? What are companies telling you when you talk to them about their indoor connectivity needs?
Yeah, so this is a learning experience for all of us. So we're fairly I think we're very early and we're new into this as an industry. Companies like Zenwave, if you look backwards, to your point, we're very reliant on the operators. We market ourselves to the operators, and the operators are the ones that actually capitalize these investments. When you really take a look at over the last few years, that model has shifted. The market has begun to pivot, and when you think about IoT conceptually, right, the drivers for that are ubiquitous connectivity, right? It's got to be efficient. It's got to be wide, broad, and it's got to support millions, hundreds of millions of connected devices. The enabler of that in itself implies multi-carrier, right? Multi-environment, right? And when the operators begin to look at the economics associated with trying to build out all of that in-building demand that's out there, it's not sustainable. It doesn't support their business cases and their economics. So that pivot has now shifted over into the enterprise, and the enterprise is in a learning stage, right? This is going to be a journey that we're on as we go through this process. I think we're over the hump in terms of the enterprise beginning to realize, okay, the carriers are serious. They're not going to capitalize this investment. They're not going to come into my building and pay for this. Now I've got to begin to say, okay, how do I pay for this myself? But that's only half the problem, right? Because very much like what we were talking about earlier, not only once you get to the recognition stage of saying, okay, I've got to do something, I've got to take ownership of this myself, then when you get into the level of complexity associated with making that decision, right? What's the right technology choice? What is the right investment for my business? What are the applications that I need to support? What's the right technology layer to support those applications? How do I create a solution that not only covers what my needs and demands for my business today are, but if I look 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, will the same decision that I make today be viable 5 years down the road? So when you look at that, that's the real challenge in our industry, and at the real enterprise or building owner level, when we begin to talk about, okay, how do we really begin to enable IoT by creating that in-building connectivity?
Do you find yourself more often working with a building owner or a building manager, or is it both?
So it's all the above, right? So here's what we did as part of our learning. So we engaged a third party. We did a survey, and we surveyed 1,000 employees in both the U.S. and the U.K. Those are the 2 markets that we chose, and we did it as a learning tool. Overall, collectively, the feedback that came back, which is about 74%, is recognized as we have a problem, right? The mobile coverage inside of buildings is not meeting the needs of that employee base. And then what we did is we took the data and we wanted to gather a few more learnings, right? We looked at age groups of those employees, right? We looked at particular verticals, right? We looked at healthcare. We looked at transportation. We looked at distribution centers, and that's where the data begins to break down, right? And for example, when we talk about healthcare in that particular vertical, the dissatisfaction was very high, right? Because of the importance of connectivity, all of the communication, all of the devices, all of their ways of working is very reliant on a robust communication layer or connectivity layer. So that's where we're starting as a company. We're starting to educate ourselves. Again, as I talked about earlier, not only does the market pivot, right, but the players inside the market have to pivot as well. We're used to just calling into the carriers and selling to the carriers, and now what we're learning is that's no longer the way of the market. We have to work with individual enterprises, individual verticals, individual building owners, property management companies. And the way we're tackling it is we're targeting each one of those individually, because what we're finding out is the challenges and problems that we're trying to solve for a building developer is very different than the challenges and problems we're trying to solve for a direct enterprise or a particular hospital system. So the world that we're living in is one that we should all collectively be excited about, which IoT is the enabler of. But when you begin to break it down and realize how do you get to the market, how do you solve the problem, how do you bring a solution to each individual, either building or particular vertical, you find out you have to be innovative, you've got to be flexible, and you've got to be creative in how you deliver a solution for that segment of the market.
So you've obviously put a lot of time and energy into understanding several different verticals. So what can you tell us both about some of the pain points and ways to solve those pain points for some of the verticals, and also just how to even address them? You know, you've said a couple times that you're used to marketing to, maybe 4 carriers. Now you've got so many more customers that you've got to think about. So that's a challenge right there.
it is, and like anything else, as you're gathering your data, as you're learning about verticalization, as you're learning about market segments, you begin to get experience as to what particular verticals are willing to be market leaders, to be first movers in the market. It's not so different than a lot of the things that we're hearing in our industry. Healthcare is a big driver. We talked about big venues, right? We talked about sports stadiums. We talked about airports. Those are the first movers. Those are the ones that are willing to make the investment. Those are the ones that are out driving it. But again, when you think about it, that's all top of the pyramid, right? Those are all top of the pyramid type applications. For us to realize full scale and full optimization of IoT, we've got to come way down market and enable all of those individual buildings, enterprises, property development companies, property management companies. All of those individual verticals have to be targeted, and solutions have to be created that meet their needs.
So do you also go to market by working through the systems integrators?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that is one of the learnings at ZenWave is that's not only has the market pivoted away from us, but how we get to market has changed for us. So we're working with distributors, we're working with systems integrators, we're working with value-added resellers. The other thing that we're trying to figure out is not only the typical channels to market, but we're also looking at we're taking a step back and we're trying to understand within the vertical segments that I was talking about earlier, who are great partners that could be potential non-traditional channels to the market, right? So let me give you an example. We've pulled back and built a good relationship with a fairly large West Coast electrical contractor, and they've proven to be very successful for us. So if you think about access to enterprise, access to building, knowledge of a building, knowing where all of the elements inside the building rely, well, that's not a significant step to talk to them and say, hey, what about mobility? Can we create an additional revenue stream for you, right? So I've got a number of sessions going on with some HVAC distributors, right? They work with architects, they work with designers, they work with developers, and these are pretty significant investments and pretty complicated systems that have to be planned for in the building. So if you get them interested in mobility, it's not really a significant step outside of their core to begin to talk about mobility in addition to the core business that they're working on. So it's not only working with those traditional channels to market, but it's identifying new partners that can potentially give you access into that enterprise space.
What about ISPs and or Wi-Fi access providers? Is that a possibility?
Not so much, right? We haven't. I mean, clearly, what we do today is we're very focused on the cellular layer, not so much on the Wi-Fi layer. But clearly, when I talk about that connectivity layer in the IoT model that I described earlier, there is no one silver bullet, right? Wi-Fi is going to have a play in that layer, right? Cellular is going to have a very strong play in that layer, right? Wireline is going to continue to play as a technology connectivity layer in that business model. So there is no one single solution that's going to solve everybody's problems. And so if you're in that space, I think, and what we believe certainly is ZenWave, is the smart play is, can you create a solution that plays with all of the potential opportunities from a network perspective in that connectivity layer.
So let's talk about the nuts and bolts of your solution then, the Unitivity, the UniConnect. I believe that there are not that many solutions that really can cover all four carriers. Can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
So we do think going forward that we really have a platform, and we're evolving our platform very focused towards the enterprise. And so we have a solution that is wideband in nature. So we cover from 150 megahertz to 2.7 gigahertz with one radio, and so that's very unique in the market. our technology is not only spectrum agnostic across those bands that I just described, but it's also technology agnostic. So 2G, 3G, 4G, we are working. We announced at Mobile World Congress towards 5G. So we're going to be testing mid-year to second half of the year at 3.5 to 6 gigahertz. So as you look forward and you think about where 5G is going to be deployed, we want to be able to support that band. So when you think about the connectivity layer, and at this time I'm talking about the cellular layer, and you talk about providing a robust platform that not only supports the applications today, but you look 5 years down the road, we think that's where we have an advantage, right? So we have a system that is future-proof, as we like to call it. So if you think about an example here in North America, if you've got a system that's at 700 and 1900, and we're just finishing the auctions at 600. Well, with my competitors, that's either an overlay or a forklift, right? With us, it's a software upgrade, and we can enable 600 just very, very quickly through software. So that whole future-proofing of protecting an enterprise in a very complex world, it says, hey, I'm confident the decision that I'm making today will not only support my needs today, but will evolve me forward. We think it's going to play an important factor in how the enterprise space evolves around that connectivity layer on IoT.
So are the enterprise customers that you're talking to thinking about IoT?
I mean, absolutely. There is the one thing that we're certainly running into in the market is either companies are making investments, and in many cases the top of the pyramid companies are hiring employees, bringing in expertise, and building organizations around IoT, and then certainly the ones that maybe necessarily coming down the stack in terms of the enterprise that can't afford to do that are attending conferences like this, are attending webinars, are taking every opportunity to learn out there around IoT, because I think ultimately every enterprise realizes they have to be a part of IoT regardless of what vertical or what business they're in, because ultimately there is going to be value for their business going forward.
Great. All right, do we have any questions from Scott Willis from Zenway?
So the answer is, can we support them? Yeah, I mean, we can again, our technology, whatever transport you want to put across it, right? I mean, but today, the way we're designed with our system is we have to have an RF source that comes in from the carrier, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we have a platform that sits in an in-building environment, but to really enable that platform, you've got to have a carrier that brings in the RF source, and they own the spectrum, right? So that'll change a little bit in unlicensed spectrum with some of the solutions that we're working on. But in terms of just technology, whatever transport or whatever technology you want to put across that layer, we can certainly support that.
So as the carriers turn on their Cat-M networks, would you maybe be able to support those at some point?
Absolutely. I mean, those are right. Today, there is no limitation in building with our solution as it relates to technology that you want to transport across our platform.
Excellent. All right. Other questions?
I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah, there we go, yeah. I'm sorry.
Sorry. My question was, do you support 2.4?
Could you turn on the microphone so I could...
So, afternoon. My question is, does your system support 2.4 and 5.6 gigahertz?
So today we support 2.4. right? So 150 megahertz to 2.7. So we are currently working and expect to be in a trial environment. It'll be midsummer is what we're targeting right now with a couple of players in the market that we'll hopefully be able to name at a later date. From 3.5 up to 6 gigahertz. So that's what we're targeting. That capability doesn't exist in our radio today, but it's what we're working on in the very, very near future.
Because I come from Africa, and normally those 2.4 and 5.6 are the free frequency bands. One doesn't have to pay for it.
So 2.4 we can definitely support today. But when you say, yeah, so I mean the up past through 5 gigahertz we will be supporting in the future.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Zenwave? All right, Scott, thank you so much.